Most people will not spend 3 hours getting prepared for the thing that they want to achieve. Most people will talk about the thing they want to achieve and then not really do anything about it. So if you are ambitious, this is a great way to set yourself up for major success and to do it in a way as an introvert that does not exhaust you. Because we're not talking about taking a whole day out to do a ton of stuff or to do something that's really heavy focus. We're talking about breaking it up into really bite-sized, manageable chunks. But think about the momentum. Welcome back to the Ambitious Introvert Podcast. I'm Emma-Louise, and in this solo episode, I am going to be sharing with you a really powerful exercise that I set for one of my private clients, which is going to help you to achieve your 2025 goals. Yes, because we're almost in 2025, in just 15 minutes per week. So before I dive into that, let me give you the backstory. This wonderful client of mine is an entrepreneur, and she had set aside a number of hours that week to work on her business rather than in her business. Now, this is relevant whether you are a business owner, whether you are an employee, because we can look at your business or we can look at your career, and it's interchangeable here. We spend most of our time in doing the job, doing the work, doing the tasks, managing the people, delivering to clients, showing up and doing our work, whatever the thing is. We don't often take time to work on our business. And by on, I mean stepping back outside of the day-to-day and doing the stuff that really needs doing, whether that's goal setting, whether that is reassessing priorities and team management for your career, whether that's really looking, am I on the right trajectory? What am I enjoying about my role? What do I want to achieve in the next 6 months, 12 months? So rather than just being heads down and doing the work, it's so important for us to take this time on a semi-regular basis, I would say at least once a quarter, to really work on our business, career, health, finances, whatever the thing is that we're looking to improve. So I was really thrilled that this client had this time carved out just for that. And she came to me in Slack and said, look, I've got this time set aside working on my business. Obviously, you know me really well. You know my business really well. I'm looking at setting goals and working through some goals. Do you have any suggestions? Do you have any prompts for me? Do you have anything that you think would be useful for me to dive into and spend some time on? So I really love this. This is such a great question. And this person is obviously a very talented entrepreneur, has a great mindset and a great way of approaching this. And this is a great example, actually, of how to be empowered and how to also use coaching to empower you even further. So that decision was made already. And this client knew how they were going to be spending the time. They knew the kind of thing they were going to be doing, but they wanted to optimize that. And what better way than having a coach who knows you really well, understands your business, knows your strengths, knows what your focus is, knows your goals, your priorities, all of this, to be able to say, oh, really hone in on this, or why don't you spend some time doing this? So there's the background for you. So I sat with this for a little while and I thought, what would really benefit this client? And actually afterwards, I thought this would really benefit everyone. This would benefit me. I'm going to take my own advice on this one too. So we are the second week of September by the time you're listening to this. And you may be thinking, oh, it's only September. The summer's only just ending. We've got ages till 2025. I'm not even thinking about what I want to achieve next year. I'm not even thinking about my goals yet. And if that's you, I'm actually really pleased, because the thing about thinking about next year's goals is it puts us so far in the future, because we would already be thinking well over a year in the future. And that can be really tricky for us sometimes, and it can take us out of the present. However, what I will say is, yes, it's the 9th or so of September, or a little later by the time you're listening to this. And then if you factor into that the fact that there are some holidays coming up, especially if you're in the US, and then we have the Christmas holiday season and all of these things, it really cuts down the amount of usable time that we have left in the year. So the way I proposed this task to this client is to say, okay, yeah, really great to think about getting clear on goals, really great to be looking longer term, to be looking into 2025, especially as a business owner where you are responsible for your own growth and revenue. But let's look at this a different way because we do still have a whole quarter left of this year. So what I proposed to her was, why don't you go and think about where you would like to be in January? What is the baseline that you want to go into the new year at in regards to any goals that you have? So what I mean by this is, it's really great to look at what we want to achieve and to look at the end goal. But imagine that you have the time and space, which you still do this year, to make some small changes now to put you in the most effective position possible. Like, this is real high performance work. So that when January comes around, and whether it's your first week back in your business, your first week back at work, you have taken action already this year that has put you in a fantastic position. And you can hit the ground running and you can really start working on all of the things that you want to achieve because you're in a really, really great state already. And you have got you've got the resources and you've got some of the legwork done, and maybe you've got some habits set down already. That means that you don't spend the first 3 months of the year kind of spinning around and sorting everything out because you're there. You're going to be there. So I'm going to give you some examples of how this could look so that you can see how you might be able to apply it. And the really great thing about this is if you did this for 15 minutes a week, which is literally nothing. Literally, you could sit down and set a timer for 15 minutes once a week and work on the particular thing, this baseline that you want to get to. You would, let's give or take for holidays and different things, you would probably spend about 3 hours this year getting prepped and set up. Now, that is a significant amount of time. Most people, however, are not going to spend 3 hours, carve out the time and sit down for 3 hours to work on one thing to help them in the distant future. That's not how our brains work. However, if you can schedule it in already, just 15 minutes, like it's nothing, literally nothing. And imagine the compound effect of that from now till the end of the year. You will be in a fantastic place come the first week of January. So let me give you an idea of how this might work. Let's imagine you're a business owner and you want to get really consistent with your email newsletter, or you want to start a podcast and be really consistent with that. So you want to put some kind of long form content out next year. And that is a goal, to have that in place. You could, in that 15 minutes each week, you could think up topics. You could brainstorm ideas. You could just put these ideas down. You could put ideas of guests you would like to interview. You could map out, in that time, you could map out the entire year of content. So some of my clients do a monthly newsletter. So you need 12 topics, 12 ideas, and you don't have to write it, although you probably could. To be fair, in 3 hours, you could write a good few of them at least. But you've given yourself the space with a blank Google Doc or a notebook to put these ideas down. Imagine that. Imagine then, January the 1st, whenever you come back to work, you're like, okay, so I'm going to send my first newsletter. Let me open this bank of ideas and see which one I want to expand upon. You've got zero decision fatigue. You don't have that, I don't know what to write about. I don't know what to do. Your future self in January will thank you so much for popping those ideas down. And yeah, if you sit down for 15 minutes, some weeks you might be like, oh, nothing's coming through. And other weeks you might be like, oh, I've got 3 great ideas. But to spend and invest that 3 hours now, it's going to make a hell of a difference when it comes to January. Another example of this could be if you are looking for a promotion or a pay rise next year. So Now is a great time to really start embedding into that, updating your CV, maybe connecting with recruiters, maybe just having a look-see at some companies you might like to work for and see what is available, refreshing your LinkedIn, maybe making sure that it's up to date and it's got all of your skills and qualifications on there. Maybe some outreach to people that, you have in your network that you haven't spoken to for a little while, just friendly outreach and making those connections. You could do so much in that 3 hours that, again, come January, let's say you go, all right, I'm ready to start applying for jobs. Imagine if all of that was done already. You didn't have to think about your CV and your LinkedIn. You've already connected with some recruiters. You've already had an eye on what's happening in your industry. Or maybe you've even connected with some people and had a coffee chat or just had some emails back and forth. And you're like, oh, actually, I could reach out to that person and see if they know of any vacancies that would be suitable. Rather than sitting there and going, right, I need to start from scratch, because everything would be in place. So that's another example. And the last example I'll give is for health. If you are looking to either make positive changes to your health, to your exercise routine, to your diet, or whether it's more of you're looking to take part in something like a marathon or a triathlon or, something like that. What could you do this year that sets you up to really go for that come January? So could you be researching venues or equipment? If it's more of a nutritional change, what about if you spent 3 hours researching recipes and putting them all together in something like Notion or even in a Google Doc and starting to map that out? What if you looked at, could you bulk buy a ton of dried goods so that you've got healthy food in? Could you get that ordered so that come January, you have stuff in the cupboard so you're not going to be like, I don't have anything to eat, I don't know what to do? Could you start doing some kind of exercise that would set you up for the thing you want to do? So if it was, let's just say, a marathon, could you start doing something now? What would help? Could you do some kind of knee or hip strengthening or opening exercises that actually mean that when you get to starting training fully next year, you've already got this great baseline of strength and mobility and fitness there? So those are just a few ideas, but can you see how investing just this 15 minutes each week, and it could be longer. I've made it 15 minutes for the bare minimum, because in 15 minutes, which everyone can find, you would still get, like I say, around 3 hours of prep towards your big goal, which is huge. Most people will not do this. Most people will not spend 3 hours getting prepared for the thing that they want to achieve. Most people will talk about the thing they want to achieve and then not really do anything about it. So if you are ambitious, this is a great way to set yourself up for major success and to do it in a way as an introvert that does not exhaust you. Because we're not talking about taking a whole day out to do a ton of stuff or to do something that's really heavy focus. We're talking about breaking it up into really bite-sized, manageable chunks. But think about the momentum. Think about the momentum you'll get from just doing that once a week. And think about how great you will feel in January. Think about how great you will feel when you sit down. You will thank your past self so much. So much. You will be like, I'm so glad I listened to that podcast and I'm so glad I took the advice and did it. So that is my recommendation for how you can already make sure that you smash your goals for 2025, whatever kind of category they're in just 15 minutes per week this year. And also start to give yourself confidence, because when we do make a habit, when we're consistent with doing something like this, when we are focusing and putting our energy and time into the things we want to achieve, that creates positive momentum. It creates positive momentum in our mindset, which makes us more confident and it makes us happier because we're focusing on the thing that we want. So it's literally a win-win all round. Right now, it's a win And come January, it's a win also. Thank you so much for tuning in to this short but hopefully value-packed episode. And I would love to hear, what is your 2025 goal and what is your baseline that you would love to be at that first week of January that you can start taking small action steps towards now? You can email me as ever, hello@theambitiousintrovert.com. That's hello@theambitiousintrovert.com. I would love to hear what your plans are for next year, and I would love to hear what you are going to spend your 15 minutes per week doing to ensure that you succeed. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. I hope that you're feeling expanded to what's possible for you, motivated to take action, and inspired about how you can start to own your energy. I share even more tools and resources on my Introverts Only email newsletter. By signing up, you not only get early access to the Ambitious Introvert products and services, but you also get brand new podcast episodes delivered straight to your inbox every Monday, meaning you'll never miss your weekly dose of introvert-friendly inspiration. Sign up now at theambitiousintrovert.com/newsletter or click the link in the show notes. See you next week.